Glad to be with you. And I didn't realize. Do I always have a lower third?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What the heck? I try to not look at the monitor because I don't want to be Oprah, where I'm always looking at myself and watch the internet there. But anyway, sorry. Hey, we're gonna get to a lot today. DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency.
Love it.
You've heard about this. Elon and Vivek are going to be heading this up, and the left is losing their mind. I think that, and I'll make the case today, a little bit of trolling, a little bit of fun, a little bit of, yep, let's axe this, go in with a hatchet, go in with a buzzsaw is actually needed. I think we've lost scope. You can comment below if you disagree. Also, we're going to get in today. I've been watching a lot of leftist news sources. I use that term loosely, but also podcasts. I've been reading a lot of articles, and there's a reason that the left lost. I don't want to make any overcorrections or gross generalizations or predictions, but there's a reason that they've lost, and it's not just the economy, to be clear. I know people say it's the economy, stupid. I actually think even if the economy happened to be doing well, it still would not be enough to override the other cultural problems that they have. And you know that poster right there, Andrew Breitbart. There's a reason that he started Big Hollywood before any other website. Everything is downstream from culture. So we'll talk about that and more. And let me know what you think about Elon Musk and Doge, the stuff going on there. Also, Mattel made a really bad mistake, a pornographic mistake. We'll get to that in just a second. How are you, Joe Morgan, Captain Morgan?
I'm good.
CEO.
How are you?
What did you say?
Where's my
YouTube dump?
Hey,
YouTube dump.
No. I just come on right now.
No, I meant Toolman. If you see this,
Seriously,
head on over to Rumble. Weekdays, 10 a.m., including Fridays, by the way. And Rumble Premium is 100% more show. I just wanted to run.
I'm not as good as I was a minute ago, but fine. Yeah.
And then, of course, when you hear this, you know him, you love him. November 15th and 16th, Friday, Saturday, JP's Comedy Club, Gilbert, Arizona. Still counting votes there. How are you, Josh?
Good. I'm actually going to be counting votes when I get there.
Yeah, good.
Nice.
Yeah, they've got a box of ballots at the airport.
It's a side gig, and it's a good gimmick on stage.
It doesn't pay, but it's rewarding.
No, it's fun for the audience. I always find a little bit of tedious, menial tasks. It works. The crowd really likes it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
And they eat it up.
I don't know if you know this, but Joe Biden is still alive.
What?
And this week was not kind to him. So this brings us to our latest and really one of our final installments of This Week in Biden.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
He's playing.
Yeah.
President Biden, do you think that you can get a hostage deal by the end of your term?
You think you can get hit in the head by a camera behind you? All right. Thank you all.
She ran an inspiring campaign, and everyone got to see something that I learned early on to respect so much, her character. She has a backbone like a ramrod. She has great character, true character. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
By the way, he has used that term ramrod like many, many, many times.
Many times.
Let us know below if you want us to put that into a montage. It's intensely uncomfortable. But
Hunter
I just
calls himself that.
yes,
He calls himself the ramrod.
he calls himself and Mr. Eminem Mini.
Oh.
I'm receiving right now, as we were just running that, breaking news. This just broke right here on X. Look. All right, Captain Morgan and Noodles, can you bring this up? You were saying that this was just announced.
Yep.
Okay.
I have loved connecting with all of you on Twitter and then on X for all of these years, but it's time for me to leave the platform. I once believed that it was a place for honest debate and discussion, transparency and free speech, but I now feel it does not serve that purpose. In addition, starting this Friday, November 15th, X is implementing new terms of service, which among other things states that quote, all disputes be brought exclusively in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas or state courts located in Tarrant County, Texas, end
Mhm.
quote.
Mhm.
The full terms of service can
So
be
that's
found on
good.
my written statement
Where they're
or on
located.
the X website.
Yeah, well,
Now, as the
no.
Washington Post recently reported on X's decision to change the terms, this, quote, ensures that such lawsuits will be heard in courthouses that are a hub for conservatives, which experts say could make it easier for X to shield itself from litigation and punish critics. I think that speaks for itself. You can find me on YouTube at The Don Lemon Show, or on TikTok and Facebook
Yes.
at
Hold
Don
on a
Lemon.
second. What he's really saying here is on X, this may actually find itself in a pro freedom of speech court.
Yes. And
So I will be on YouTube where they do the enforcing of the CDC, of whitehouse.gov, and removed the like button just to try and push Joe Biden over the top. I am leaving a free speech platform for a platform that, you know, probably has offered to grease the wheels to my channel a little bit. You can't say that you're. Have you been to the YouTube comment section? It's Satan's asshole.
For now.
And he's
After Mexican food.
And he's leaving X. This and it'll tie into our segment later. This is why the left loses. But hey, Mr. Don Lemon, not sorry to see you go. We're just breaking news. All right, let's move on to this really quickly. Mattel made a pretty big mistake. I don't know if you know this. You probably saw this. It happened a little earlier in the week. There's an update. There was an error on packaging for dolls promoting the movie adaptation of the musical Wicked. What you're about to see with the clip. Careful with your comments on how this lady looks. I get it.
The film stars Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, who channeled their on-screen characters at the LA premiere over the weekend. They also gave a thumbs up to the dolls being marketed in their likeness.
It's perfect.
The dolls look adorable, but look at the packaging. The website listed is wicked.com, which links to a pornographic website. Oops.
Whoa, whoops.
They have to cover this. They have to cover. This is the way news has it, which links to a pornographic website. Okay, what'd you see?
How long were you on it?
Well, according to my research, I spent per diem on an annual membership.
Yes.
And I have a penchant for feet.
And I'm thinking about my stepmom in a weird way.
Yes. Also, my new favorite day is laundry day. Back to you, Jim.
Everybody in research volunteered to look into this.
Yes. So instead of going to wickedmovie.com, which also sucks, it directed people to wicked.com. And wicked.com, the porn website, reported their highest traffic since 2012.
Oh, jeez. That's good cross promotion.
You know, it used to be.
No, come
It used to be where you know, whichever medium pornography, you may not know this historically, in media was the medium that was picked. So, for example, VHS, same thing with Blu-ray over.
My money. I don't want to put it in the stock market. I don't trust the stock market.
You know it's bad when your highest traffic to your website wasn't until 2012.
When people start to collect
Your opinion?
a couple bucks here, $5 there, and then all of a sudden,
I'm
the
in the
quality
law.
stays
I
high,
did not
and so
do
does
research.
Worst marketing campaign
I mean,
ever.
whoever thought that
Bill
shit,
understood that
they ought to be
relationship
like
early on.
worse
For
than
me,
fucking.
it took forever because I was just
You link a campaign to a porno website, and the campaign for your product is for kids. Not just kids, little girls who like The Wizard of Oz and like.
Can you imagine husband? He came in and organized things, and then he did a lot of research to get an idea of what things might be worth.
I hate to be the one to tell you, but we just set out umpteen thousand,
Say 40,000 units
yeah,
just
40,000 units.
just got sold.
They just got sold and went out. But there's a problem.
The website on the back's a porno. Never have ever heard this before.
Look at the Smith and Wesson that we're finding at.
What's bad is I don't know if this if Christians that like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, you don't do well with that, Mike.
Well, you guys got so many of these little.
I have
I
a.
don't know. They probably don't
looking for tiny
some
cabinets to display.
But even if they let the kids, because some Christians like let the kids watch Lord of the Rings. Sci-fi nerds. Still, they open up on the look on the back, and a lot of kids are going to be like, "Hey, let's go to this website." Mama, what's wrong with that person? Why are they doing that? You never want to have to explain to your 8-year-old kid the sex talk that early. Especially when you look up a porno site. Oh, God.
HD DVD, if porn backed it, that kind of determined the industry because they had so much sway. Now, one of the most powerful pornography corporations in the world is being beaten by a couple with an iPhone. Well, that's where we are at this point.
Sure.
That's where we are, and it's just sort of the pornographic equivalent to YouTube. Of course, this is not the first time that Mattel has been in hot water over a problematic product.
What'd you do? Get a new doll? Oh no, Catty Cassie asked first. Sure, because a dog can talk or something. Shut the fuck up and brush my hair, bitch. Okay, Daddy. Well, I told you she could talk. I just pulled this ring and she says 11 different things. Make her say that again. Maybe she will. Part of the fun is you never know what Catty Cassie will say next. Get rid of this ginger faggot, bitch. Her skin is so soft. Hey, her hair feels real. That's not the only thing that feels real. Ah, Catty Cassie loves everybody, and everybody loves her. I love everyone except for the and the and those filthy and the Jews.
Catty Cathy comes in a red or blue dress. Over perfect expansion pack sold separately.
I've always been a Milton
Wow.
Bradley guy.
Wow. Yeah. I can see why. Obviously, I'm a Hasbro guy
Cassie's
myself. but,
quite the anti-Semite.
Yeah.
Well, and also they had an error. They redirected to Porker Brothers, and that was a problem.
Ooh. It actually wasn't a mistake. That is,
That's Elon
synergy
Omar's
right
site.
there. They're going to open Wicked Kingdom
Yes.
at Disney World soon.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you should go. It's adults
At
only.
least Wicked.com is not as gay as WickedMovie.com. I don't think there's anything gayer than a musical that's trying to understand the situation of the Wicked Witch. It's so stupid.
WickedMovie.com redirects to Goodwill Hunting.
Yes.
That was wicked good, dude.
It's wicked. Dude.
Wicked
Hey, by the way, CrowderShop.com. We still have the Trump one,
Yes.
4547. You can go there, support the program because there are very few other ways to, and we're not making the ad revenue on YouTube, and rightfully so. We were demonetized. We should have been demonetized, and we accept it proudly. Let's move on to
Wear it as a badge of honor.
government efficiency super team assembling. DOGE is the department right now that people are talking about. It's a Department of Government Efficiency.
I love that.
And what's funny is the left can't even fathom that this may be a thing. I talked yesterday about baseline budgeting. Once you expand government, you never get it back. You never scale it back. And last night, Donald Trump announced Elon Musk and Vivek would be teaming up. They'll be involved with the Department of Government Efficiency. He said this on X. He said, "I'm pleased to announce that the great Elon Musk, working in conjunction with American patriot Vivek Ramaswamy, will lead the Department of, it's not important, of Government Efficiency, DOGE, for short,
To the moon.
They will work together to liberate our economy and make the U.S. government accountable to we the people. I'm confident they will succeed." Now, here's the only reason to me that someone could be in complete meltdown mode over this department means they don't agree with the concept. And this is something that, of course, we fundamentally disagree. There's no finding common ground. When the left says we should only increase spending by this amount, by this multiple, and you have a good portion of the country who actually believes, and with good reason, that the government is far too expansive as it is, where do you find that common ground? The left will not cut down government size. The left will not make any changes as it relates to government efficiency. And let me, do you consider yourself a moderate? Do you think that one can be a moderate and say, yeah, we actually need to downsize government? Because to me, when I hear someone saying they're a moderate, I mean, well, I don't want to increase the size of government by as much as the next guy. So that is the basis for why the left can't even comprehend this complete blind spot. They are in full cope.
Elon Musk suffered a humiliating demotion tonight by Donald Trump when Donald Trump announced that he would give Elon Musk a job that does not exist and will last at most 18 months.
Yeah, well, we learned that, and this isn't that surprising, to be honest. We knew that Elon Musk wasn't going to have some big cabinet secretary position.
The fact that Musk and Ramaswamy are trying to cut down on government inefficiency, and yet it's basically a blue ribbon panel where they're soliciting ideas from the public. It seems to me it's only going to slow things down.
Donald Trump is not looking at people based off of necessarily their credentials for each given position. It's very much off of who has shown their loyalty.
Zip code. 3. See what Part C plans with benefits.
Actually, Donald Trump is making these choices because he knows exactly how capable these people actually are. You get a genius like Elon Musk to control government spending and government efficiency, the cost of prices will definitely go down, and you will finally have government accountability.
If you only have Medicare Part A.
I mean, whether it's Elon Musk, Kristi Noem, across the board.
It does feel like a bit of a blue ribbon panel just to satisfy Musk. Also, sort of the punchlines write themselves, where it's about government efficiency, and yet they have two people leading it.
I love when someone says that the punchlines write themselves. Yeah. Okay, prick, write them.
Yes. That's inefficient. Ha ha.
And you know what? This is, first off, let me give you a quick fact check. This is exactly the position that Elon Musk wanted.
Yes.
And you know what? It makes sense. Hey, you have a guy, Donald Trump, who's saying, there's a vision for a new department. Let's appoint a visionary. In other words, no one even thought there needed to be a department to actually look at inefficiencies in the government.
Yes.
And so you pick the guy who has started things from scratch. And you know why those in media, you know why those in Hollywood, this is the dirty little secret that people don't want to tell you. You say, oh, Holly weird, people say. Well, no, let's look at why they are millionaires, sometimes hundreds of millionaires, if that's a term. And they're the only demographic of millionaires, of ultra wealthy, who consistently lean left. The reason for that is because they haven't had to employ anybody. They've never had to start a business. There's a huge difference between starting a business from the ground up, having to employ people, having to understand taxes, having to understand payroll taxes, balancing what kind of benefits you can provide to employees so that you can be competitive in the job marketplace while also balancing your checkbook. Instead, you have a lot of people in this industry who are college educated in media, in Hollywood, not necessarily, and they're paid millions of dollars for something that God gave them, being good looking. Or having, yes, an actual skill, being a good actor, but that doesn't require any skill in understanding finance or business. That's why you have business owners, period, lean right. Hollywood millionaires lean left. That's the only difference. Never once signed the fronts of checks, aside from maybe an assistant.
Yeah. Well, and Elon Musk, I mean, he's the guy who, Twitter's still up and running, right? It's X now, but it still works. Okay, good. He cut 80% of the staff. Mm-hmm. The company's still doing just fine. You may not like the ad block that they've got going on right now, but that has nothing to do with the size of the workforce.
Right.
Elon Musk is the perfect guy to go in and do this. And by the way, these guys, Elon Musk is trying to get us to Mars. He's busy catching rockets. So having Vivek go in there with him as well as an entrepreneur to see what they can find, it makes perfect sense. And also saying, hey, I can only do this for 18 months because, I don't know, I'm trying to become the world's first trillionaire. I'm a little busy right now, but I want to make sure that the government's a little bit more efficient. And they're trying to dunk on him for that?
Well, think about it. He goes, and efficiency, and it requires 2 people. Yeah. How crazy is that? 2 people who likely won't even take a salary as opposed to over 70,000 new IRS employees. Where were you on that? Do you honestly believe that it couldn't have been 2 fewer? There, you just found the money for an entire department, ass face. I know it's childish.
It is a little.
Now, I'm going to get to some very specific examples because it's your money. It's my money. Don't you get aggravated when you pay those taxes? You're like, oh, that's right. I'm paying for these 70,000 if I don't commit murder, which means I'm going to give you some examples of government inefficiency, of absurd spending, right? And we know that we're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars in debt, where what's another trillion? So I'm going to give you some very specific examples where hopefully we can find some common ground and say, yeah, okay, that's kind of beyond the pale. But for context, we really have lost sight of the role of government. And I've talked about this. The role of government is effectively to keep its team, its people safe, meaning external threats. That's where military is appropriate. Internal threats, meaning some kind of regulating force to make sure that your rights are not infringed upon by your fellow citizen. Outside of that, to make sure people are playing by the rules so they don't harm anyone else. Outside of that, they keep their whistle in their pocket. Like a hockey referee. That's the analogy. They don't need to be involved in everything. That's the context. You can say, okay, is this a legitimate purview of government? All right. That's where the conversation used to start. We are so far beyond recognizing the scope of it. I mean, you've heard the expression, too close to the forest to see the trees. Let me give you some context, okay? Think of the Boston Tea Party. When people say the founding fathers would have wanted it this way. Okay. They started a war because of taxes on their morning drink. Let me give you an apples to apples comparison as far as what the founding fathers would have thought. Imagine your morning energy drink going up by 2 pennies in taxes, okay? And so you start murdering people. Which, by the way, actually happened at the gas station this morning where I went. Yeah, I need to change neighborhoods.
Okay, well.
Whoa. I mean, to be fair, the cashier was British.
Yes.
I mean, what do you... The guy smiled and he saw it all.
and here's the thing. This is something, too, the left, you guys may not remember this. The left loved Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah,
he was the green car
He was the
guy.
darling of the left. Come on.
They used to call them Elon bros or Musk bros.
Yeah.
And we used to make fun of him because I thought that he was accepting far too much in government subsidies.
Yeah.
He was pushing the green energy policy, right? He benefited from a lot of these programs and a lot of these policies. And I also thought he was pretty innovative. You know, two things can be true at the same time. The left loved him. He was their darling. This is just a few years ago, which tells you it doesn't matter what you do. If you're a comedian, they just say, oh, you're not funny if you have the wrong views. If you're a genius, no, actually, you're a dummy. Here's proof.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk.
It's just 3 years ago.
Basically asked if there was anything positive that the Trump administration has done. And I want to tell our viewers your response. You said, quote, I'm encouraged, in fact, by the fact that the then president-elect met with Elon Musk, who is a true pioneer, does a lot of great work in my state with SpaceX, so I'm grateful to him for that.
Time magazine describes Musk as both clown and genius, the man who aspires to save our planet and get us a new one to inhabit.
It's perhaps no wonder Elon Musk was a source of inspiration for Robert Downey Jr.'s billionaire business magnate come superhero, Tony Stark.
Do you see Elon Musk then as a visionary?
Oh, without any doubt.
And we'll do an extended segment on this tomorrow because a lot of people may not remember just how much they loved him and were pushing for him when he was benefiting from government subsidies. We were talking about this back when Elon Musk was still depending on government subsidies and dressing as Satan for the Metro Gala or Halloween, whatever it was. I'm really glad that he's seen the light.
Gala?
Was it the Metro?
No, it's a Metro Gala. That's the one that's in the subway. It's a different. You wouldn't know, Gerald.
Well, you know what? I get an invite every year. I even get a save the date.
I just thought you were like a
No, to the Metro.
To the
Gala.
Metro.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's always
I was wondering why you weren't there.
It's hard to open the invitation to. It's
a little sticky.
A little sticky.
Yeah, well.
Let me give you 5 examples here of insane government spending. Again, to put this into context. Start with number 5. Okay. Weird science. So I don't know if you know this, there's $477,000 was used of your tax dollars to fund Fauci's transgender monkey study for people who don't remember this. Now, that's not a lot of money.
What?
That's not a lot of money, but it adds up, especially when you add up to that your tax dollars, and all references available at louderwithcutter.com, link in the description. Every day, we always do $3 million to put a shrimp on a treadmill. Now, at first, I thought it was worth every penny.
Yeah.
It's a sea roach.
But I don't know what we paid for because now the shrimp are still obese. So it didn't work. And hey.
Oh,
come on.
It's always like the little arms, and the big belly.
And I know what all you people out there who work in sciences are going to say, well, this is actually really important. It wasn't about the shrimp on the treadmill. It wasn't a VO2 max thing. It was about how they responded to cold water. I could save you $3 million with 2 Home Depot buckets. Could be Lowe's.
Yeah.
2 buckets, toss some ice in one, toss a shrimp in both buckets, and call it a day. That's it. And again, for context,
some salt, I think.
when people say, well, you know what is important to study the habit. Okay, imagine traveling back in time and telling our founding fathers, the Boston Tea Party people, right? Telling them about this. First off, they'd probably think you were a witch if you said $3 million. They thought that's more money that's ever existed. Then you would have to explain them why you care that shrimp may or may not like the cold. And then you'd have to explain to them what a treadmill is. And they would blow your head off immediately. There would be zero hesitation.
Why don't they run outside?
Yes. So, do these shrimps not have some sort of aquatic sidewalk?
You're telling me these fat people have these things in their house that they don't use?
Yes.
Clothing on them. What?
Wait. You need a machine to walk in the future? Do people not have legs? They use their legs to walk on this machine.
Have we replaced legs with shrimp legs? I don't understand.
Why are you telling me our future is filled with shrimp people overlords?
Have you tried putting wigs on the shrimp?
Yes.
Make them look better.
There would be no way to explain this to them. Taxes on tea versus $3 million for shrimp on a treadmill. Okay, let's go to the
over
next.
10 years, by the way.
It's over 10 years.
I don't want anybody fact checking us.
Let me give you a few more.
Okay, how many years? It's still so much money.
I know.
You know how much endless shrimp that could get you at Red Lobster?
Yes, exactly.
Thanks for justifying, Gerald.
I wasn't justifying. I was making sure.
Take that money, go to Red Lobster during Scampi season. Is that still a season?
I don't
know.
think so.
Yeah, there wasn't sure.
Back for that.
Number 4. Okay. $5 billion to build 7 electric vehicle charging stations.
What?
7. $5 billion to build 7. To give you an idea, the guy they hate, Elon Musk, who I believe did not get the contract for the giant the electric vehicle charging stations. Tesla superchargers cost about $175,000 each, or $28,500 for those superchargers, I believe. Or sorry, you could get 28,500 superchargers for that $5 billion.
As opposed to, so that's more than
as opposed
7.
to 7.
It's
right.
close.
So government,
That's
7. Elon Musk, dummy efficiency, 28,000. If only we had an apples to apples, it couldn't be more clear. It's just like, oh, what's he going to do? I don't know. Maybe start with creating 28,000 extra charging stations for the price that you're already paying.
28,493, Stephen.
Yes, exactly. I'm sorry.
Well, we rounded up. I think he can make it happen.
All references available. Link in the description. 28,500 for $5 billion. Elon Musk in charge. Government 7. Let's go to number 3. I wasn't signaling through. I was just doing this with my hand. I know this is 3. $42 billion your government spent on rural broadband.
Okay.
That connected nobody to the internet.
Ooh. What? That can't be right.
Nobody connected to the internet.
0 people? Did they not bring it to homes?
Again, if only we had a comparison. Have you heard of Starlink? Oh, it's almost shaping up. You're going, oh, this makes a little sense. Okay, we're spending billions on charging stations. You know what? The left, if you really want us to move to electric vehicles, which is dumb, but you want us to, no one else is going to be able to do it. You know how? No one else was able to do it outside of Elon Musk. And you chased him out of California. The electric car guy had to leave California. Yes. And now you're saying it's ridiculous that the electric car guy could maybe be in charge of government efficiency when they're spending $5 billion for 7 charging stations and $42 billion on rural broadband that helped nobody. We now have 2 specific examples that are in just that man's wheelhouse. And I wasn't planning on this. I was just planning on picking the most shitty examples of government spending. No internet at all, which was tough luck for South Dakota's Blue Balls County. There, it's still
just
have to look at the wicked box set.
Farmers only. Okay, so you style it.
Yeah, where'd that money go? They gotta go north.
Here's number 2. $5 billion for 60 electric school buses. Oh, come on. $5 billion. These are just examples. And here's a reason for
the one in Elon Musk, like ring. Yes, can you solve 3 of the biggest wastes of money we've ever had in government? Yes. Okay, bye. Right. It's done.
Okay, so if it's 60 buses, 7 chargers, that's
a waste of
$10 billion is what it is.
And depending where you put them, the people who need to charge, when you have internet to find out what the chargers are, nothing would work.
Doesn't make sense. You're right.
Number 1, and this is a big issue here, is these giant no-bid contracts. This is a fundamental problem with government. The left used to hate it when they bitched about Halliburton and the Cheney's, but about 45% of government contracts basically have only one bid. Wow. Right? So it's pretty much a guarantee. So Boeing, to give you an example, they overcharged $4.3 million on spare parts, including an $8,000 markup on aircraft. I know what you're thinking. Aircraft, something like aircraft, I don't know, the engine. No, soap dispensers.
Have you ever used soap on an airplane in your life?
No.
Yes.
I go in, I touch everything, and I roll the dice.
No, you just use hand sanitizer after you get out of it.
No, you use soap, and there's a whole sink, Gerald.
I understand
It's a civilized
No, I
society.
don't. I'm telling you, I don't use any of it because the ladies love a man who lives dangerously. I go in, I lick the disposable razor.
Never used
thing, and I go back out and I say, yeah, you know what? I'll have my complimentary cocktail. I said an economy plus.
If I get out of there alive, I'm happy. You ever try to squeeze into one of those at 6'4"? Come on.
Yes, I can only imagine. $8,000 markup on soap dispensers. And again, remember Halliburton? Oh, sorry, 8,000%. Did I say dollars before? Or did I say percent?
Which is probably more.
Both times.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's percent. 8,000%. Admonish me.
Which is worse, by the way.
Of course it's worse.
Yes.
Of course it's worse. And remember, Halliburton got $7 billion in no-bid contracts with the Iraq War, right? They had these emergency repairs. They were able to do them in the Iraq's oil infrastructure.
Don't worry. They love the Cheneys now on the left. It's fine. Everything's good.
For 8 years of my life, the only word I heard from Democrats was Halliburton.
Exactly.
That's it. It was like a Chetty Cathy doll whose cord was broken. Just Halliburton. Right, you're like, well, hold on a second. What about Al-Qaeda? Halliburton. You're like, all right, fine. All right, we're not going to get into
There's a snake in my Halliburton.
Yes, exactly. You're my best Halliburton.
Oh,
okay,
come on.
it's enough. It's enough. And this is the thing. This kind of, and you can comment below what you think are the worst examples, or really the best examples in this scenario. And I'll give you a couple of examples of how I actually think we could change this. Donald Trump has a real opportunity. Sometimes you think it's more complicated than it is. It's really not. Hey, we're spending too much. Can we reduce spending? The answer as it relates to government spending is 100% of the time, yes. There is no doubt that you could do it more efficiently. You could do a mental exercise. Think of the entire government in front of you, the entire federal government, under the legitimate purview of the executive branch, okay? Anything? Okay, think of, could we make this more efficient? Point at anything. Yes! That's the answer. It's just, could you reduce it by 99%? In which case you're looking at an 8,000% markup for soap dispensers from Boeing. Could you make it more efficient by reducing 50% waste? It just comes down to what percentage. And I mean this. If there could be a challenge, I bet you Donald Trump, I bet you Doge could go into any department of government and make it at most half. And you would not be able to discern the difference in your day-to-day function. Nobody would. Government spending is exactly what infuriates Donald Trump's new press secretary, Nick DiPaolo.
And if you could just talk broadly about what Trump has also said about making Musk the head of a new government efficiency commission. Does the White House see that as a conflict of interest, given the fact that Musk's companies have so many contracts with government agencies and potentially given the power to regulate the agencies that hold sway over his own company?
You don't have a problem with Honeywell, people who make missiles and stuff. You're only bothered when it's Trump. I mean, it's a silly question. What was the specific question? Anybody paying attention? I fell asleep on that.
Does the White House see that as a conflict of interest, given the fact that Musk's companies have so many contracts with government agencies?
Can I ask you a question? Elon Musk, you know what he does for fun? He builds rockets. He doesn't only shoot them off, he catches them on the way back. When's the last time you caught something, a rocket on the way back? Like maybe in a fight with your husband in the bedroom, whip that thing at you. How can you have a problem with? That's what he does. Elon Musk, you look at all his companies, they're a fine machine. There's hardly any fat on them. You realize the United States of America is a corporation. You're the ones who always say that. It's all about money, money, money. Yeah, it is. Who better than Elon Musk? Look at the red tape. You know, we spent $450,000 last year to see how fast shrimp run on a treadmill. That's an actual, I didn't make that up. And not a fried shrimp, an actual shrimp. Not boiled, not peeled and deveined, a shrimp running on I didn't make that up, running on a treadmill. You guys spent money on that. So if Elon comes in and says that's a waste of money, you're going to argue with that? What conflict of interest? Corporations and the American government work hand in hand. Well, since Obama got in, by the way, that's how socialism works. Y'all should read more. I read a lot. Not as much as Tim Waltz, but I don't really care what Cub Scouts wear under their suits.
It needs to happen. Here are a few suggestions, and I'd love to hear yours below. Well, crowdsourcing, or as the left says, they refer to it as stupid, because you're dumb. You're so dumb that you voted for the president. They really do revile you. A few suggestions, okay? Number one, no more no-bid contracts, okay? No more. Just only open bid contracts where everyone can bid to try and improve government efficiency. Guarantee you there are plenty of companies out there who could do a better job on, again, point to any project, point to any service. Yes. Number two, performance-based research. Look, we may or may not learn some stuff regarding shrimp when we put them on a treadmill in cold and slightly warmer water. but you have to prove that it has to some degree helped save humanity. Otherwise, you pay for it yourself. And number 3, an at-will firing policy. We need that in government. No more people who are installed. That's the swamp, the Faucis of the world. Fauci would have been fired anywhere else in the private sector for his performance on AIDS. This is a man who said that a child could catch AIDS in his house with his parents. From touching the same objects, cereal boxes, whatever the hell it was. You need to be able to fire people like that. People get into government, and then it's just a matter of how much of a raise they get that outpaces the private sector. And by the way, it also sometimes makes the private sector incapable of competing. So no more closed bid contracts, only open bid government contracts. Performance-based research, you have to prove how you have benefited this country and our citizens specifically, and an at-will firing policy. That's a starting base.
Yeah, I like it.
Also, government should be screened to by everyone a premium subscription to Gerald's OnlyFans. That's, hey,
that is not real.
I don't want to pay that anymore.
It's educational and disgusting.
Oh, it's free, actually.
It's time for this week's taste test. All right, what's on the menu today?
1775 dark roast.
Oh, hold on a second. I don't believe we can hear you there. Can you move forward? Oh, boy, it's worse in the light. Okay.
It's 1775's dark roast peaberry.
Oh, wow. Can you bring it over
Very
here?
nice.
This is, I believe you gave me a bag here. So, oh, okay.
You look very nice.
You do. Well, that really
Thank you.
does. That smells delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Heard good things.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, it tastes like freedom is what it tastes like.
It does.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Mine's frozen solid. What the heck? What do you guys?
Yeah, I don't.
You know, you really, Joe, you know how to ruin.
What do you mean?
You're ruining a moment, and this is a sponsor.
Yeah, you've ruined everything, Gerald. You're the worst.
The thing is, this smells really good, but I don't know how long it was sitting out there.
It kind of tastes like he put his finger in it.
Yeah, it does. Also, that was after Gerald's OnlyFans.
I like it. Yeah.
No. And this is what we use here. We actually ran out because we've been using way too much. 1775 coffee, the official coffee of Rumble. And unlike other coffee companies that push back against the woke mob, they actually mean it. You're not going to find them giving to Democratic candidates. 1775coffee.com/Crowder. Use the promo code Crowder for 10% off. They roast it, they ship it, they love your country, and their coffee's better. And they also, by the way, deliver it in bigger bags.
And they have the roast date on there too.
Yeah.
Those. Those are on there every time. You hate most coffees. You love this.
Yeah, most coffees. And I'm going to tell you, as someone who got really nerdy into coffee, what's good with it, if you just want a really good drinkable coffee, but you don't want to have to sit there and, oh, well, this clearly comes from a high altitude and low moisture. Just shut up. Is the coffee good? Is it not good?
Low moisture.
There is.
Speaking of low moisture, is that really frozen?
Yes.
Let me see.
Let me see.
Well, I don't believe
Well, it doesn't look frozen anymore.
Well, it's got.
Well,
frost on
turn it
the
upside down
side.
like a Dairy Queen.
I don't know that I can do that. There's a little bit of liquid. They've had it out for just a minute, but look, hold on. Here we go. Look, you can see the ice. Can you?
Oh, okay. You weren't lying.
There
That's
you go.
us.
There.
Yeah.
It's actually frozen. Wow.
I just spilled some coffee. All right. Let's get to
don't stick your tongue on frozen things, even in Texas.
I know every boy wants to try it, but in Texas it's just mostly chilled. Let's get to this here right now because I've been watching a lot of leftist news, and typically, if you look at our references every day, we use liberal sources wherever we can, unless it's an original story, which we'll get to. By the way, we have a Mug Club Undercover, an exclusive here today. The left they keep trying to wrap their brain around why they lost. And it seems that you have some people where there's a little glimmer of, oh, okay, maybe they get it. And then they descend back into madness. I don't know that they can correct course. And I know that people will say it's the economy and it's immigration. Those are absolutely probably most important in maybe the voting booth once every 4 years. But the cumulative effect of culture, and the left will try and silence you and say, oh, the conservatives with their fabricated culture wars. Mm-hmm. When they say that, it's because they're losing. It's because they're losing the culture wars. They're losing the culture wars in wanting to censor views with which they disagree. They're losing culture wars in saying that male and female are no longer a thing. They're losing the culture wars when Joe Rogan has Donald Trump on and it humanizes the man they accused of being Hitler, and CNN says we need our own Joe Rogan and they can't do it. To be really, really clear, they're losing the culture wars which they have dominated for a very long time. And that's why Gen Z, young Gen Z males, broke for Trump. That's unheard of. It's never happened in this country, I believe, outside of perhaps Nixon, because he ran on ending the draft and people left McGovern in record numbers. But still, that was an exception. This is just they liked Trump better and they're tired of the culture that we are experiencing. Comment below if you sense that, if you feel that. I've been here since 2007. There were no conservatives on social media, on YouTube. There was no Twitter. There was no Facebook at that point in time. So it's only been a week since the election. Let's just check in with the left to see if they're finally getting it.
A lot of you are wondering how it could be possible that Kamala Harris lost every swing state, but so many statewide Democrats won.
She had momentum. She had the women's vote from Roe v. Wade. She had young voters. She had crossover voters from the Republican Party. Not all of those things could be wrong, right? Well, all of those things were wrong.
For months, Democrats have been saying, how is this even close? And they're right, it wasn't.
You're telling me, Stephanie, that all of these people who believe that their lives are, that bread is too high and eggs are too high, that they voted for a convicted felon.
There were many headwinds here. There is sexism. There's racism. What? All of that is true.
How did the guy running for comptroller get more votes than Kamala Harris?
Might want to look into that comptroller.
Yeah. I don't think you made the point you think you made.
No. They can't comprehend it. And by the way, for more proof, we actually had one of our undercover journalists infiltrate a recent Zoom meeting where Democrat activists were lamenting why Kamala lost. And again, they keep making the points they don't think they're making. This is Muck Club Undercover exclusive. And here is the painful, but I don't want to jump in. I want you to see it in its context, undercover Zoom call.
They didn't talk about the importance of I could probably maybe find some more reports on this, but I mean the wrong track numbers for the economy or the way the country's going. It was like 70-30 against. Nobody, like a Morning Joe, they didn't talk about that. About the American like we're not happy. I mean, those are the kinds of things that really really, I think we need to at least bring those things up because at the end of the election, I'm like, hey guys, we really need to be hammering the economy and security, different kinds of security issues.
Looking into the voting itself. I've been people have been posting different things that have been happening and they kind of wonder whether this is really as much as a big sweep as it was, and whether there was something, some programming that was causing a glitch or whatever. Because I had, I know someone was helping out with a voting place, and they ran out of ballots. So for 3 hours, they had to wait and find out what to do, and they finally made copies and allowed people to vote on. But people had to wait 3 hours for that. And there was other funny kind of stuff going on in different polling places and different organizations. And people really, the other thing people are questioning is a lot of people voted Democrat down ballot, but then they voted for Trump. And people are wondering, now really a Democrat would vote Democrat down ballot but the top ticket, they wouldn't? I'm just wondering if there's any effort, real serious effort to look into other such things.
Yes, please look into the voting machines. The voter ID. Remember, I just want to be really clear. We do not discourage you from looking into any of this or filing lawsuits, petitions.
Please do.
Audits.
January 6th is your last day, so make sure, make your voices
Please
heard.
do. Yes. Look, if you want to make your voices heard emphatically, January 6th is a good day. I know it's the 20th this year, but
No. 6th is when they, certify the election.
Right,
And the
yes.
20th is when they do the inauguration.
That's right, when they do the
It's
inauguration.
your last shot, guys. If you want to make your voices peacefully and peacefully.
January 6th. It's a good day.
By the way,
it is funny to see them baffled.
well, it's they're not only baffled, they can't string a sentence together.
No, they obviously don't.
that
They're not
was
capable of
horrible.
complex thought.
No.
They can't even figure out how somebody could vote for one person for president and not for down. Like I did the same thing,
Yeah.
Well, one person.
That's
I voted for a Democrat because the other one was a lady. But what am I supposed to do, guys?
Wow. Jeez.
There was, I believe in the secret ballot, but there was one person I didn't vote for.
I understand that.
That's okay.
But that's how unpopular your candidate was. So this should be the message. Wow, she's so unpopular. They'll vote for the Democrat in the House, a Democrat in the Senate, and get to the top of the ticket and be like, "No, I'm not voting for her. I'm voting for Donald Trump."
Here's the thing, too. I think politics has changed quite a bit. Donald Trump has been a lightning rod here, and I've been very open about this. In the primaries, was not a fan.
Mm-hmm. In 15?
In 15, I was not. 16. And then, of course, supported the Republican candidate on a national election. But he was far more effective than I anticipated. And he has served a purpose that no other president, I genuinely believe, could, as a lightning rod.
Yeah.
And that he has said the things that many Americans believe. And I'm not talking about the bombastic things, but many things like, hey, these other countries aren't as good as America. Americans go, yeah, I believe that. Hey, we don't go into these countries unless we take the oil. Americans go, we're not taking the oil? Hey, we need to build a wall. Oh, you mean we don't have a wall? Right? This is what the response has been, and the left can't understand it. As far as politics, too, same with the left had way more money. I mean, talking about over $1 billion spent nationally. The left had a machine. Does anyone actually think, Joe Biden was in charge of anything? Anyone actually think Kamala Harris was in charge of anything?
Joe Biden doesn't even think that.
No, they had a well-oiled machine, tons of money, better ground game, and far more favorable media coverage, not to mention social media, with the exception, of course, of Rumble and X, who are really making some headway. So there's no reason, if you were to look at the metrics, and they had about as effective of a campaign in convincing Americans that the economy was going well as Barack Obama did in his second term against Mitt Romney. Right. In other words, if enough Americans bought that, it still wouldn't change what Donald Trump brought to the table, and that is a cultural shift. Just look at the polls that we see where most Americans, including Hispanic Americans, support some form of mass deportation. Contrast that with 2016, where people actually, my God, believed Donald Trump was racist when he was saying they're not sending their best, or he said these people are animals, clearly referring to MS-13.
Yes.
You still had Americans buy it back then. They're not buying it now. They're not. Culturally, they are so out of touch, and I don't know if they can right that ship. I'm not saying that you won't see a swing back in the midterms. Politically, I am saying that the Democrat Party, remember, people used to have the argument where Democrats would say, well, everyone has gone further right now. Democrats are moderate. Nope. Everyone has gone left. It's just that the left has gone crazy left. You do not see the amount of people leaving the Republican Party that you do en masse with the Democrat Party. You see some never-Trumpers, but it's not the same thing. They're not leaving on principle. Let me give you some examples here of the fallout beyond the election and why you are playing a huge role. Rumble Premium, by the way, only exists because of you, Mug Club. We started this election night 2016. We thought we'll get a few hundred, we'll get a few thousand people. You're talking about 6 figures membership. That's why Rumble Premium is now a thing. $99 a year, $9.99 a month. Mug Club is now Rumble Premium. Rumble Premium is Mug Club, where you can continue watching today. Boom. Nothing changes. You can just continue watching once you join your account, just like YouTube Premium. You'll have live sporting events coming up. You have all kinds of other creators, content, and ad-free. This could not have happened. It was just it was a mug. I think our first order was like 3,000 mugs in 2016. Remember that night? It was literally on a Logitech camera in my den, and you and I had to tear down. So there is a huge shift. And young Gen Z men, I believe it was 56% voted for Trump. Okay, here's some other fallout. CNN.
Well, so before we get to CNN, let me bring this up because I want us to be first to this, because I know I'm betting that before we go off air, this is going to make the rounds, right? So Donald Trump said something apparently at this little conference thing that he was at with the Republicans just before. It was very quick and brief, and he went on to other stuff, and he's going to meet with them later. Bring it up what he said. So I suspect I won't be running again unless you say he's so good, we've got to figure something else out.
Great.
Which I think is hilarious, because here's what's going to happen. I think that's Trump just perfectly trolling.
I don't know if there's a clip of it, but I guarantee you he was. I guarantee you he probably at some point turned to someone near him and said, "Wait till they hear this. Look, I can't run anymore." Looked at him. Unless you like me so much, you'll have to figure something out. But that's you.
I was going to say, he's probably pointing at somebody. He's probably pointing at.
Yeah. And then laughing. Thumped him on the way out and laughed.
We told you he's never going to leave office.
I guarantee you he needs to have a neck massage from laughing so hard.
Yes. I think there's clips of Obama joking about the same thing.
Yes.
Which I didn't take seriously.
No,
then. And I don't,
The left venerates FDR for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Think about that. It's just, okay, term limits. Do you have a problem with Bernie Sanders? Why does it only apply to a president and not apply to people who really don't have to do all that much? Let's be honest, people who aren't in executive positions. Comment below if you think there should be term limits, if you think it should be for the president as well as senators, or you think it should be for one or the other. I think it's got to be consistent across the board, honestly.
If we're going to have a country of ever-changing laws, then we have to have a country of ever-changing representatives who make that law.
Yeah, they get entrenched. CNN. So on Tuesday, it was reported yesterday, CNN is going to be laying off hundreds of employees. But I'll tell you why this won't work. This is from the New York Post. It says CNN will implement another round of layoffs that will impact hundreds of employees across the organization, including those whose TV production talents won't necessarily be needed in the new digital-first landscape. Chris Wallace, some of the on-air talent are also likely to be affected. And Chris Wallace left CNN and said, I'm going to get into the podcasting space.
He didn't leave.
Good luck.
He didn't leave. He said he was leaving. They weren't going to renew his contract.
Okay.
There's more that has come out since, and it's like, I'm leaving. You can't fire me.
Point is, think about it. Don Lemon. Think about it. Chris Wallace. Think about all these people. They can't compete. A-list actors right now. You may not know. Think of your favorite actor from that movie. Yeah, they have a podcast. These people are these people are fundamentally uninteresting.
Right.
And that's why they're furious at people like Joe Rogan. And yeah, yours truly. This shouldn't have happened when you take into consideration the budget. Current CNN salaries, Anderson Cooper is $20 million a year.
How is that possible?
How many queer shopping sprees do you need? Jake Tapper, $7 million. Aaron Burnett, $6 million. Aaron Burnett?
She's got a primetime show.
Oh my God.
She's out front.
I have to know what Aaron Burnett thinks about this. Said nobody on earth. Caitlin Collins, $3 million. That's a lot of sugar waxing for those forearms.
I understand that one more.
And Wolf Blitzer. Wolf, lowest score ever on Celebrity Jeopardy Blitzer. $3 million.
I don't understand that one.
For Wolf Blitzer. By the way, it's the same Wolf Blitzer who actually said this.
So tragically, so many of these people, almost all of them that we see, are so poor and they are so black.
I mean,
so black.
And when he said it, all the people on screen weren't black at all, some of them, and then the ones that were, they were like mildly black.
Can you imagine if Trump said that, what Wolf Blitzer would say about it?
Oh my gosh.
They're so poor.
This guy is a moron. And I mean it. I was watching CNN, and I don't just say, I don't think Anderson Cooper's a moron. I don't think Jake Tapper's a moron. I don't think Aaron Burnett's a moron. Caitlin Collins, I don't know. She's hairy. That's all I know. But Wolf Blitzer, I watched him. They were going through the electoral map on a segment. I don't know if it's that Enton guy, and he's talking about New York and looking at the game for Donald Trump. And he goes on for about 5 minutes, and it goes back to Wolf Blitzer, and he just goes, and of course, Buffalo is where I'm from. Ed will return after this break. Like, that's your spin on it? Like, I know that place. He's an idiot. And I genuinely mean that. I actually think we have a clip of him on Celebrity Jeopardy.
Wolf, things have not worked out. I'm sure Andy's so much faster on that signaling device today.
Everybody else, the lowest score after that was 4,800 positive.
Who was the other contestants?
I don't remember.
Who Andy was in the lead?
I think it was Andy Richter.
Is it Andy Richter?
I think Andy Richter was
39,000.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So
couldn't even get burned by Conan. You had to get
no.
I
think Andy Richter. I don't know who the other one is.
Dana. It's Dana something.
Whatever.
I have no idea. But here's something it doesn't matter if they slash costs. It's not going to change anything for the same reason that CNN, whatever it was, online, was it premium, whatever they called it, CNN
Plus.
CNN Plus.
Yes. CNN Plus. I think they spent $100 million and it lasted like a month and a half.
Yeah, that means that people are rejecting it. It used to be where you could just buy it. Now, this is also why I have a problem with YouTube. I don't know if you know this. You can buy views on YouTube. Conservatives do that too. By the way, it happens across the board. You can't buy live viewers. That's harder to cheat. And you can't really buy retention, meaning people stick around for a long time.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's also why sponsors don't pay anything for X views, because you'll say, like, 500 million views. Well, if that was true, then Donald Trump on Joe Rogan with 32 million or 35 million plays wouldn't mean anything. But a lot of them are 2 seconds or less views. You have no way of knowing it. So what really does matter is engagement, meaning people actually tuning in and staying in. That matters because it means these people actually care about the program. People don't care about CNN. People don't care about MSNBC. And a big reason why you may get some college elites who might want to watch and discuss it at their cocktail hour. But CNN is so blind. It's not about the fact that this one man I'm going to show you on a panel gets furious that someone refers to biological boys as biological boys. It's that CNN is still in this moment, they have a gimme. They have a freebie where they could just go, all right, come on, don't derail the panel. You know he's not trying to offend you. Let's move on. But instead, they have to say, hold on, I understand, but we have to be respectful. No, you have people on CNN who can't even have a conversation as a grown-ass man with another man if he says that boys and girls are different. Watch.
I think there are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not listening to point that you call a trans girl a boy.
Are you going to allow me to finish my explanation?
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt.
Now pause. Pause. Once upon a time, someone would just say, hey, then you can leave.
Yeah.
This guy is clearly not insulting. You can leave. We're adults. This is a panel on a news show. You don't get to do that. The left has to allow these extremists to hijack all of their institutions. Watch how they handle it.
Boys, they're not boys. They're not playing girls softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen
for a second because
Want to bet?
Look, this is a really heated issue,
Mhm.
right? And
No, it's
Michael,
not.
I know you. I know that you understand that people have different views on this. I think out of respect for Jay, like, let's try to talk about this in a way that is respectful.
Okay, so let me rephrase this since I'm being targeted here.
I don't.
There-
You're
no,
not.
no,
Just
it's
to be
okay.
clear, you are not being.
But I
targeted.
am, but it's okay.
I'm specifically
Yes, he
saying
is.
that I know that you are not
Pause.
intending.
This is why I changed my mind started, by the way. I was at Fox News for 4.5 years. I've appeared on HLN. I've appeared on CNN, BBC, Sky News, all these places. They go, you have limited time, buy up as much time by saying as little as possible to mitigate your risk. It's not a real conversation. And it's why at the beginning of every change of my mind, I would go, well, hold on. What do we mean by this? It's important that you define your terms. If you allow the left to say, well, hold on a second, do you mean to say cis boys? Now it's just going to be wordplay. And anytime they feel that they're getting that they're losing this conversation, guess what? They can take their ball and go home. They've given themselves an out. I'm not going to sit here. You're an adult. Sit there and make your case. And he can't, and you'll see.
To
His
be
face.
transphobic.
He should know that I'm not in it. He wants to sit here
I'm not
and
calling you
bloviate
transphobic.
and
I'm saying you're using a phrase
I want to
that
give
you
you an
know.
opportunity.
So the way
to
regular people interpret it,
That's not
which is why
regular
those
people.
ads were
That's not regular people. There's no consensus that these are actually boys.
What?
This whole thing about trans girls is a canard. We're talking about a tiny, tiny sliver of the population.
That may be the
and we're
case,
using
but
that
my point in
to
terms
take
of
away
its
healthcare from
effectiveness.
thousands of people.
Hold on, just get to your point.
My point in terms of its effectiveness.
Pause.
Regular people.
Hold on 1 second there. It's a canard. It's a tiny, tiny sliver. It's not a tiny sliver of the record holders and competitors in female sports. Two boxers at the Olympics. You have cycling records. You have state sprinting records. Just because there haven't been enough yet, because we've never allowed this to take place, doesn't mean that it won't be awful. And the experiment has already yielded catastrophic results. That's why it's not actually. It's really not a heated issue, as Abby Phillips just said. But let's continue.
With children, look at these things and they say, you know what? This is a bit too far. I do not agree with this. I don't like this. I think Democrats are going way too much to the left on social issues. They're uncomfortable with it. A lot of people believe that. A lot of families believe that. You may disagree with that reality, but that's why Republicans kept running those ads over and over and over again, because they saw the metrics suggested
And
that they were
lying
working.
in those ads over and over again, and using rhetoric like you just used, saying this is boys playing girls sports.
What,
First of all,
because it is.
what's the
Right.
language?
That's rhetoric.
What's the language?
Who's a rabbi?
We're talking
That's-
about trans girls being allowed to play with the people who are in their gender. And if you don't believe, you don't have to listen to me. Listen to the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association.
The American Medical
This is not about these.
Guys, just
Right?
a second.
This is about.
Do we have the intellectual fallacy alert? I don't know if you have
know,
it there.
right?
On your, because
Oh,
he
man.
just implemented every single one. Every single one. First off, he changed the words, right? Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right. The
That's
logic-
cool.
Perfect. You have the appeal to authority fallacy. These institutions. Yeah, well, there are other institutions, including, by the way, the eyeball test and including a basic DNA test. You can't get away from that. So you have to say, oh, these institutions, these people. Oh, just like Anthony Fauci, for some reason, supersedes all of the data that we had available to us at that point in time as it related to AIDS and HIV. He also, by the way, tries to appeal to its, ad populum. Well, actually, no, a lot of people don't agree with this. There's no consensus on this. But hold on, consensus. I don't know if you know this. Science is not governed by consensus. It's a tool. It's governed by what is correct. That's the scientific method does not go, okay, we're going to conduct this experiment. And I know you're going to say I'm not a scientist. That's right. Let's go to rudimentary science. Hypothesis, test it. What's the result? You can have different people analyze the results, but if the results come back every single time, oh, chromosomes, oh, genetics. Someone who says, well, I'm interpreting this differently is someone who is trying to change the science for political purposes. Everything this guy does, he changes the words, right? Gender, he goes to that. Gender, they used to say sex and gender were different. If you go back and watch Change My Mind, the first time I asked, what is a woman? We need to define this. What is sex? Gender was a grammatical term for a very long period of time. And by the way, even if you look at people who believe that you could be transgender, they still believe that existed within the binary. It goes to Judith Butler, Simone de Beauvoir, then you have John Money with the twin study. I've walked you through all of this. The point is, you can go back, it's remedial. 69% of Americans oppose biological boys in girls' sports. And the other 31% are lying.
That would be the consensus.
Yeah.
There's the consensus.
It's not a heated issue.
No.
It's not a heated issue. You can't find 69% of Americans, outside of voter ID supporting it, you can't find 69% of Americans who agree on anything, to be clear. And that number is only going up. So if you start with the fallacy, well, this is very heated. There are many Americans who are offended, just as this panelist is, at the idea of the term boy. That's not true. There are many people in positions of authority who don't agree with you. Do they disagree with the genetic makeup of a male and female? No, they do not. That is irrefutable. There's no way around it. I'm not talking about extreme examples like intersex, by the way, who don't want to be included, or Kleinfelders. These are 0.00 whatever percent of the population, depending on the year. This is not a contentious issue. The left still cannot bring themselves to just ask that everyone treat each other like adults. That is the difference. Even going back to gay marriage, you know what? Be ready to clip this. You want to know where this started? Absolutely started with same-sex marriage. That's when he said, there's nothing that a mom brings to the table that two dads can't. Well, there's no need for a dad. Two moms is just as good. And when you allowed people to frame it as, why do you hate? If you oppose it, which not that long ago, California voted it down. You may not remember that. Why do you oppose it? Do you hate? That's how they started to frame it in. There were still plenty of reasonable Democrats who go, yeah, okay, like Elton John. Civil unions, I understand where you're coming from. Marriage is seen as a religious institution. All right, we're talking about putting someone in the will, talking about tax breaks. Yeah, there was a middle ground, but there was a subset of people back then who said, if you believe that the institution of marriage in the United States is reserved for a man and a woman because we identify gender differences and their innate value that they bring to rearing a child. If you recognize that, you're hateful. And those people who said that anyone was opposed to it was a hateful bigot, they moved into positions of control the entire Democrat Party, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, take your pick, whichever one's bankrupt given the month. So this is where they are. They can't even start. How do you start from a perspective of having a dialogue and self-reflection?
Yeah.
If you have to spend the entire panel, think about it, they didn't discuss anything because the guy was going, I'm not going to sit here and hear the term boy. Go.
I'm not going to sit here. You sit to pee, dude.
Yeah.
They kicked it. Exactly.
You're going to sit there just fine.
Yeah.
You'll do just fine. They kicked a guy off for saying, I hope your pager doesn't go off.
Right.
They kicked him off a panel. They stopped and had a moment where she looked at the camera, and I'm so sorry that we had to deal with that. And I hope everybody's okay. But he's been kicked off the panel and never allowed to go back to CNN again.
Right. Do you realize what civil rights in this country happened through a vote? Do you know that? Do you know that so many things? And at that point in time, no one said, I'm not going to sit here and hear you tell me that they can beat be at a diner with a eat pie with a hose and a German Shepherd. I'm not going to. No, people actually managed to sit down over issues that were genuinely contentious. Today, boys and girls sports, it's not contentious for the majority of Americans, and it shouldn't be contentious for adults to discuss. So CNN, facing record ratings losses and having to make layoffs, they're going to be focusing more on things like public access television to cut costs, like their upcoming new show, Wolf's World. I would watch it.
And it's actually just been canceled.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah. But it lasted longer than CNN Plus. So
yes,
that's good.
Exactly. The good news is Chris Wallace, here he comes to save the day.
He's 77.
I know.
Go away.
Yeah, that's what I want, a 77-year-old podcast.
I know. He loved our shirt. He loved the fight shirt that we had at the RNC. He wanted that, but just go off into the sunset or wear that shirt on air. One of the two.
Let's go into...
He horribly mismanaged his money.
Yes, he did.
And his dad's money. His dad was doing well, too.
Yeah.
MSNBC. This is the other leftist network. And I say the other leftist network because CNN, remember people used to think it was actual journalism?
No, come on.
I remember when Joe Rogan used to cite CNN as a legitimate source, where he would call guests into question, go like, well, hold on, bring this up, Jamie. And then the guest said, well, hold on a second, that's bias. He would go, CNN? What, you don't trust CNN? Who do you trust? And now that's changed. That's how much trust has been eroded in institutions. But MSNBC has also seen a huge dive in ratings since the election. Primetime viewership is down overall 54%. Morning Joe, 39.6%.
Wow.
Lawrence O'Donnell, 60.6%.
Oh my
Stephanie Rule, I think I've heard of her,
No.
down 67%. Joy Reid, down 54.6%. To be fair, it is exclusively because she's a black woman, okay?
No, it's not.
Hold your criticism.
Lawrence O'Donnell might be my favorite one, seeing it drop that much. I love that.
Everything about that guy is dishonest.
Off-putting.
It may be, by the way, like Comcast is actually considering selling off or separating from MSNBC.
Yes.
Which, if I had that kind of money, I would it would be Mug Club or Rumble Premium's toy train set. We would screw with it. So, consider clicking that button, joining Rumble Premium, because
Maybe
we could
we'll
the more of you who join up, again, just if the amount of you join to just compare to the top 3 salaries of useless CNN hosts, imagine how much good we can do.
Wow.
And I'm done with my pitch. By the way, at the same time, Joy Reid, premier host, by the way, strong, brave, beautiful black woman.
Yes.
She's dropping heat like this on TikTok.
Hey, I just want to give some free advice to the white progressives, particularly white progressive women who may be thinking about marching against the Trump victory, maybe putting back on the P-word hats and doing that thing. I would just say probably don't send any of those invites to any black women you know. I'm just going to tell you right now, they're not coming. I'm pretty sure black women have resigned from the Save America Coalition, Save Democracy Coalition, and definitely the Save the Democratic Party Coalition. I think that's probably not happening. I would just keep those invites maybe among your own friends, because I don't think they're coming.
Name 3.
But yeah, I think black women are now on the Save Black Women, Prioritize Black Men, and prioritize black communities, black businesses, and that, the black spaces. But Save America, Save the Democratic Party. Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
No, it's not. Well, go talk with your friends.
Black supremacy is alive and real.
Yes. Think about that. She goes, black women. They're not a monolith. I try to be pretty careful when I say, well, Gen Z, or I try to say a majority of white men or a voting demographic, a majority of white women tend to vote left. Surprisingly, not this last election. And the way that people anticipated. She just goes, black women, period. Agree with me. I can't think of a woman less representative of the average black American woman than Joy Reid. Comment below if you disagree. I don't think that there is a group of Americans who are more overly represented in media while being completely unrepresented. If you go to a church, you go to a mixed church, you talk with black members of your congregation, just hang out in your neighborhood, just go. We've done it with Black Barbershop, Black and White and the Great Issues.
Yeah.
They do not speak like Joy Reid. They do not speak like Van Jones. They don't know who they are. And I mean that. But these people claim to speak for them. That's how tone deaf the left is. And I will tell you this, please, if you listen to nothing else, do not allow the left to tell you, or even conservative pseudo-intellectuals to tell you, that only policy matters. Everything is downstream from culture. I guarantee you there were people who walked into that voting booth going, is this really where I am? I mean, I have a daughter. She plays basketball. Everyone, is this really where I was just chewed? I was just yelled at for not wearing a mask at the Tom Thumb. This is not the America that I grew up in. This is not the America that I love. And these are people, by the way, who were Democrats at one point in time. Culture is so much more important, and that is the reason. Do you honestly think that Gen Z boys, Gen Z young males, are engaging in intricate policy discussion? Some are. The majority are not. They voted for Donald Trump. You have not seen that with a generation. You expect younger generations, really, it's always been sort of assumed, hey, how conservative will they become as they grow older? That's why it was well advised to, for example, because the more responsibilities that a young adult takes on, the more conservative they become. But it always started off with, they're going to start off liberal, right? They're in college, they're living in a fantasy world, and then they become more conservative. Most young men actually voted for Donald Trump. I believe it was 56%. I'm sure Mission Control can send it in. And it was still a high percentage of young women. That doesn't happen. And I'm telling you, it doesn't happen because of a panelist on CNN or whoever, Bill Kristol, whoever it is today who's talking. That's not the reason. It is a cultural shift. And you know what? Young people aren't afraid. Young people aren't afraid to say, yeah, okay, you know what? Transphobic. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. I don't think that, you know what? I watched that boy kick the shit out of that girl at a wrestling duel, and I don't think that should be happening.
I didn't know a volleyball could go through a human face. We have the clip.
Do we have that clip?
No, I mean,
we played it before.
We played it before. I'm sure we can find it. The scream spikes the ball percentage of people. They'll say, well, you know, the reason it's in the floodgates yet. People, you know what people used to say that about? Immigration. Well, we haven't seen it. Oh, here are your 18 million signs.
Yeah.
That once you did it your way, yeah, it's a disaster. You want to do that? You want to do that with eliminating gender lines? It's a big issue. You want to do that with our healthcare system and fat pride? All bodies are beautiful. You can be healthy at any weight. Do you really want to do that? Do you want to do that where you have policies that actually punish white males for immutable characteristics? Just because we haven't done it yet, it's not a real issue. Yeah, but you want to make it a real issue. It's not about Kamala Harris, for example, supporting taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners. We know that won't happen that often. It will happen more often. It's a reflection that the left has absolutely no line that they will not cross. Genuinely, I'm trying to put a finer point on this. If you have a party that supports abortion up until and including birth, period, right? Doubling of whatever tax rate, depending on which one they're proposing at that point in time. Unrealized capital gains. But let's just go with the cultural issues here. Sex change operations for inmates, okay? And abortion up until and including birth. If you have a party, that's their platform. What line won't they cross? Remember back in the day, we used to say, well, the gay marriage thing, people say, I don't know how that affects the kids. They go, oh, slippery slope argument. Oh, really? Yeah, let me guess, the gay agenda, we're coming for your kids. And now it's the party, when they are in power, unfettered in their states, they will hide your children from you if they want to transition, have a sex change operation, and you disagree as a parent. What line won't they cross? So then you have a symptom of that, or you have a panel on CNN. I won't sit here for transphobia because they've been coddled. And you know what? You know what the problem is in this country? I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. Tolerance. We need to stop being so tolerant.
Claiming to be.
Tolerant of that guy. Tolerant of, oh, okay, yes, you don't have to hear anything that you don't like. No, we're not going to be tolerant of that. We are no longer going to be tolerant of people acting like spoiled children. That's the cultural effect that's taking place. That's what is being rejected. It's not just the economy and policy. Let's continue, though, while we are going on to some policy conversations here.
This was one of the best trolls ever.
Yes. And we're going to talk about, yes. We're going to be talking about this in an extended, of course, on Rumble Premium. You can just click that button, seamlessly continue watching. Last night, Donald Trump, for Secretary of Defense, tapped Fox host, it's a hard word to say, Pete Hegseth? Yeah. So the left is very upset. Spoiler alert, he's actually pretty damn cool.
Any general that was involved, general, admiral, whatever, that was involved in any of the DEI woke shit, it's got to go. We celebrate America, Old Glory, and the freedoms our forefathers fought to establish. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the right to bear arms, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You know the thing, as Joe likes to say. Either you're in for war fighting, and that's it. That's the only litmus test we care about. You got to get DEI and CRT out of military academies so you're not training young officers to be baptized in this type of thinking. We also know we're one nation under God. There are a lot of folks trying to divide us right now, but we know who we are. We love God, our families, and our republic. And as far